Hello everyone. I noticed a few of you subscribed and I felt compelled to make another video for you. That being said, today's topic is about the unique advantages that a single male can offer to being a foster parent. Usually, at least myself, when I first thought of being a foster parent, I felt somewhat awkward being someone who didn't have kids of my own and caring a lot about kids in general and having worked with kids in the past even, it still seemed strange to me. But I wanted to do it. I felt like I needed to do it. And so I did. Even at when I started the whole process, the age of 25, taking my first kids at 26, and now currently I'm 27. I will say at the very beginning, the first few kids, I started feeling like, maybe there's a reason why most foster parents are married. It is a lot of work to take up. But now that I've been doing it for a little bit longer, I've come to realize there are some unique advantages that I can bring to foster parenting that married couples simply cannot do. One of my kids, it's just something that we've brought up a few times. I've brought up with him and he's agreed is, you know what, if I were married, I probably would not have him. He's one of those who has time and time again caused so many problems, whether it be breaking things, whether it be just a general risk and danger as far as will his anger blow up on myself, on others, that I've taken up a lot of risk to have him. It's taken quite a few months, but now it's like I've been amazed by progressively longer and longer where we haven't had any issues at all, and he just seems so much happier. But it took a long time to get there. And so the question is, if I were married, if I had kids of my own, would I have been willing to go through that span of time of his struggling, really, really struggling with just maintaining control of himself? And to be honest with you, I think the answer is no. I have taken a lot of risk to have him, but from the very beginning of doing foster care, I was willing to take those risks. And as a male, we generally speaking are much more accepting of risks than what perhaps, if you're married, your wife might be willing to take. If you're a man who's married, you're more worried about protecting your wife than some kid who's just come into your home and is now causing a lot of serious problems. If you're a married man who has kids, you're worried about protecting your wife and your kids, and that goes above and beyond your willingness to protect that child who's just barely come into your home, who's not your biological child, who carries a lot of problems. We, as single men who care about kids and are willing to take the risk, we have a unique advantage that no married couple can possibly provide to serving foster children. There's a reason why, ever since the beginning, they've given me some of the hardest kids. The reason is I could take it. I didn't like it. It wasn't fun, but I had the capacity to take it. I didn't have to focus on protecting a wife and kids. And so the focus became on helping that kid who's a danger to themselves and to others. That is something that I could offer to that child as a single male that I could not offer to the same degree if I were married. We, as single men who love kids and want to do foster care, we have the ability to do so much good. We can accept the risk, seeing what the advantage is. I've already told you before, the one kid who stayed with me the longest, who possibly, I don't know at this point, possibly could end up being adopted by me. He's put me through so much. And yet I will tell you, he has also changed so much. And not only that, but I feel like he is becoming, if he has not already become, in many ways, my kid. Because increasingly as time goes on, I see the change that I brought into his life. You see the chaos and the troubles that he had, many legal troubles, many anger issues, just even drug issues, everything that he carried is baggage that came from how he was raised. How he is and is continuing to become more so peaceful, caring, calm, in control of himself. Not perfectly, but it's getting so much better after, I said, quite a few months, about 8 months, I believe, at this point. That is what I have left on him. And if that's a change I have left on him, then as much change as I bring in his life is just that much more he becomes my son in a way, because that child that you leave the greatest impression on, that impression you've left is your legacy. You can have a physical legacy, of course, but even more than that, I would probably define it as a spiritual legacy, with a spiritual legacy being, of course, how have you influenced them when it comes to morality? How have you influenced them when it comes to the purpose of life? How have you influenced them when it comes to relationships, marriage, helping others, taking care of others? When you leave that legacy, you see that they have become your child, even if it's not in a physical respect, but in more, as I say, a spiritual respect. That's your legacy you're leaving. A legacy of peace, a legacy of love, compassion, constructive, to be able to do good things in the world and leave a positive outcome rather than a sort of deficit of destruction and problems. And so, hopefully, this will help for anyone who is thinking about being a single foster dad or just barely started and is like swamped and feels like they aren't as advantageous, they're not able to do as much good as if they were married. I just want to let you know you have some unique advantages to offer that no married couple can. Even though the sort of ideal is a kid can go in a family where they have that mother, they have that father. I'm going to tell you, when it comes to some of these really, really difficult kids, they need to be the top priority for somebody. And if you're married, how are you going to be able to do that without, in many ways, having to forget about your wife or forget about your kids? Like, there's no perfect way to do it. In order to put them on top, the best way is if you're single, because if they've been in a lot of really, really terrible struggles, that's what they need. And even though the ideal is mother, father, after the destruction that they might have faced in their life, sometimes that single father can offer them way more attention, way more sacrifice, and willing to put up with the problems that comes with them, whether it be material, destruction of property, or whether it be the threats and the mental chaos. I've had cops come to my house, and before I owned a house, my apartment, so many times, and that fatigues me so, so much, so much, that I can be put in a situation with a child where I can feel that helpless, that is the only thing I can do to help them to not hurt other people, hurt me, hurt themselves, hurt property. That is so much fatigue. But for the person who's willing to put it in, it can make so much of a difference. And if you're married, you may not be able to. But as a single foster dad, you can specifically target and help those kids who can't be helped in any other way. And so if you are a single male who's thinking about being a foster parent, don't let that lie get to you that you can't help them as a single male, that you have to somehow be married to help these kids, because you can help a lot of very troubled kids and leave a very positive legacy, an amazing legacy that you might not be able to do as a married person. You have the ability to do that, and so you should. And never, ever, ever think that because you're single, you can't help these kids.